Speaking of Deshaun, though, he did an interview with the Browns.com media person, and I kind of feel like he maybe took a shot at Texans fans with one of his comments in this interview.
I'm sure this was like sitting down for 60 minutes in the middle of a scandal. I'm sure they asked a lot of really hard questions.
There were some really tough questions that were asked. Like, Deshaun, what has the last year been like for you? I'm sure it's been eventful. No mention of 22 civil lawsuits and things he's been accused of.
It was all football related, right? I mean, the introductory press conference was all lawsuit related, and this conversation was all football.
I don't want to be too critical because the Cleveland Browns media guy has a job to do, and I'm obviously aware that the team guy is not going to be asking him, "Hey, so did you do it?
What is he, O.J. Simpson?
Did you do it? What was more difficult, the time that the Raiders guy kicked you in the eye and you threw a touchdown, or forgetting your own towel that time that you asked the 23rd massage therapist to do nasty things to you?"
It's just amazing that Cleveland, as a franchise, doesn't seem like they're 100% bought in on Deshaun Watson. Obviously, the contract, like the front office clearly is, but I've been checking ClevelandBrowns.com the last couple of days. Normally, if you bring in a player of Deshaun Watson's caliber, you're bragging about that. Hey, Deshaun Watson, we got this guy. A little bit to know about Deshaun Watson. Here's his introductory press conference. Here's what he brings to the table. Like, everything should be about the star franchise quarterback you just brought in. There hasn't been anything about Deshaun Watson. It's like they're almost trying to hide away from the fact that they just made the move that they made.
Look, I understand that Deshaun Watson's going to live his life like he is innocent of all these things, and he's proclaimed his innocence. I did think, though, on social media, when he re-Instagrammed the Browns Pro Shop where you can now go buy your Deshaun Watson jersey, I can't imagine that's going to be a high-selling jersey next year. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the city of Cleveland's just going to be all in.
If they start winning games, things will change quickly. Isn't that how this works?
Yeah. We're 6 months away from football, though.
Correct.
Like 5 months away from him stepping on the field, potentially. So it could be a while before Deshaun Watson is winning the Cleveland Browns football games.
Here's Deshaun in this interview we're referencing. Is this a shot at Texans fans? Take a listen.
That's what I need. I want that energy every Sunday where it's sold out. And it don't matter who we're playing, what the weather is. We're out there. They're celebrating, they're cheering us on, and we're giving them everything that they want to see. And we're supporting them, too. We're showing love back to them, and we're just putting on a show. And that's what it's all about. So, having that same bond with the fan base and the team, it's always got to be connected, and I see that here in Cleveland.
So is he saying he didn't see that connection with the fan base here in Houston?
This dude is going to be so easy to root against. Like, obviously, you should because of the draft situation, but
beyond those years.
It's going to be so easy to root against Deshaun Watson. I took that as a big-time slap in the face to Texans fans. Dude, every game you started in Houston was a sellout. Every single game you started as a Houston Texan had a sellout crowd. What more do you want from the fans? The Browns didn't have the sellout streak that the Texans had. And when the Browns were winning one game over 2 years, nobody was showing up. Every game Deshaun Watson started in Houston was a sellout. This fan base took him in with open arms and gave him everything for years. And he's saying stuff like this. And oh, by the way, guys, he still hasn't thanked the fans. Ever. No tweet, no Instagram post, no written statement, no page taken out in the Houston Chronicle. He didn't thank the Texans fans at the press conference last week. Who does that? Like, think about all the departures we've seen from the Houston sports scene over the last few years. We've talked about this, and unfortunately, it's a frustrating topic, and it's a pretty long list. Every other person who's left has thanked the fans almost immediately after they left. Even James Harden. Now, some people didn't listen to that thank you, but he posted on social media a long note thanking the city of Houston. Everybody else who has left, whether it was via trade or free agency, has thanked the fans in some form or fashion. That's generally what happens with athletes everywhere. Deshaun Watson, the only Houston sports figure to depart and not thank the fans. And then to say stuff like that, acting like he didn't get fan support during his time in Houston, oh, man, this guy is going to be so easy to root against.
And look, the Texans have had some iffy sellouts where, yeah, I'm sure they sold the tickets, but there hadn't been butts in seats. For a large time of Deshaun Watson's tenure, there were butts in seats when Deshaun Watson's taking the first snap of the game.
Yeah.
So it's not like where they had a sellout and guys and gals were still out in the parking lot tailgating throughout the first quarter. No. He put butts in seats. They were there
To support him. How many number 4 jerseys were in the stands?
The city hated the coach. The city hated Bill O'Brien, and they loved the quarterback, and that's why they kept showing up. Yeah. And this guy has not done anything, and that's always been one of my big things with when DeAndre Hopkins takes shots at the Texans. It doesn't hurt the Texans. It hurts Texans fans. Texans fans didn't want DeAndre Hopkins gone. Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby wanted DeAndre Hopkins gone. That's why I've always been critical of the way Hopkins has approached crapping on the Texans, because it feels like it's hurt the fans more. And like these fans and look, there are still people out there that support Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying it's a large majority by any means, but there are still people out there that support him. And just to not have ever addressed the fans, even if he didn't mean it, that's just what you do when you change teams.
Devin on the text line. Even Garrett Cole thanked the fans.
Yeah, even Garrett Cole, who wore a Scott Boras hat after Game 7 of the 2019 World Series, which pissed everybody off. Even that guy had the decency as a human being to thank Astros fans. And he wasn't in Houston as long as Deshaun Watson was. I don't think this fan base loved Garrett Cole as much as they ever loved Deshaun Watson.
You know what, though? You know who never did anything like taking shots at the team after they left? J.J. Watt. All he has said is great things about the Texans since he's left. That guy gets it.
And look, I understand Deshaun Watson being pissed at the Texans organization, Cody. This kind of follows up the point you were making about DeAndre Hopkins. Like, we know why Deshaun Watson requested a trade. We know that he's still mad at some of the people in the building, but the fans had nothing to do with that. Like the fans wanted Bill O'Brien to get all the power that he got. It's not like the fans want Jack Easterby to stick around. Like the fans had nothing to do with that. The fans supported you at every single turn. And you act like this? Come on, man. Just have decency as a human being to be more respectful to people who gave you everything for years.
One more from Deshaun Watson's conversation with Browns media. This is Deshaun pandering to the Cleveland sports fan.
Me and everyone walking through the hallways, it was all great energy, so I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to being here for the rest of my career.
Oh, we've heard that one.
Jeez.
When he signed his contract extension a year ago, it was the same thing.
And the Browns gave him a no-trade clause, Jake. Were you telling me that earlier?
That's right. No trade, $230 million guaranteed.
Oh, man.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
I can only hope this is James Harden 2.0, where the guy wants out of his new spot after a year.
Right.
That'd be spectacular.
Situation can't be fixed.
Oh, my God.
713-780-ESPN's the number. Let's go to our guy Vera in West Houston. Vera, you're on the Wheelhouse.
Hey, guys. I think I'm looking at the flip side of it. We all had a chance to probably look at the contract numbers today. He's only taking a $1 million salary this year because obviously he wanted to minimize any damage coming in from the suspensions. But for the next 4 years, with all of his money being guaranteed, the cap hit on each of the years is $54 million. So if anybody thought Matt Ryan's contract looked onerous with the big cap hits, I know there's a raise in the cap number coming, with 20, big new TV deals coming. The cap hit on each of those years is $54 million through 2026. Not to mention, they got Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Malik McDowell, Jedrick Wills, all those guys coming up for contract renewals. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to juggle all this cap space. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Yeah, good call, Vera. That's why they're trying to win right away, and that's why they want Deshaun to be available to play for them this year. If he gets a suspension, their hope is it's 6 to 8 games, let's say, and he could be available for the back half of the year and give them a chance to go to the playoffs this year.
It's a lot easier to wring your hands if you're a Browns fan or to be critical of the Browns or to point and laugh at the Browns if 3 years from now they're having to do salary cap gymnastics to keep players and they haven't won anything of significance.
Mm-hmm.
They win a Super Bowl in the next 3-4 years, they'll pay whatever guaranteed money. They'll salary cap gymnastics, whoever, whatever, however they need to do it.
They'll give Deshaun a new contract.
Sure. And Vera mentioned the money jumping up. Look, the cap jumps like $20 million next year as an estimation and jumps another $20 million, maybe $30 million the year after that. So the number is going to be less restrictive as the cap continues to jump. And those are just the projections for the next 2 years. You got to imagine it's jumping even more those 2 years after that.
There's a chance this doesn't work, guys.
Sure.
And that's obviously the hope down here, but there's a chance this doesn't work. The AFC is absolutely loaded with talent, and we're talking about the Cleveland Browns here. What have they done lately? Anytime you want to buy into the Browns, they seem to let you down. So we're talking about a dysfunctional franchise historically, and we're talking about a loaded AFC that's more loaded now than it's been in a long, long time. There's a chance this thing flames out, and I'll be rooting for it for a number of reasons.